Events, we come to the main stuff now at the Formula One stock cars. Heat number 1 lining up, one of 6 races here today for the Formula Ones. On the front row of the grid, Rob Scriven down to white for the current grading period, number 117, alongside in 162. Richard Pratt at the back of the field is Stuart Smith, number 1. So it is 117, Rob Scriven on the inside position on the front row of the grid, 162, Richard Pratt on the outside. Registered as John Pratt, but as the sign writing shows, his name is Richard. 329 and 101 on the second row of the grid, Stu Young on the inside, 101, Pete Palmer on the outside. 430, Mick Crocker going past, John Lander, number 23, as Pete White, the starter, sends them off on their rolling lap. First 8 go through to the grand final, the Mirror Grand Prix qualifying round. Joe Jopling, Richard Ainsworth there, Dan Clark, 203. He's going back down to blue for the next grading period. Stu Smith at the back of them in number 1, the world champion. Getting slowed down there by Pete White rather. Stuart still seeking a sponsor. Looks like the E's being converted into an O now on the wing there. Well, can Stuart be stopped here today? Still dominating Formula One stock car racing, has booked a place on the front row of the grid in the world final, chasing his 6th world championship. Pete White finally satisfied, down goes the green, and the race is underway. Rob Scriven leads them off in 117. Richard Pratt coming under heavy pressure from Stu Young in 329, and he's through into second place, 329. Well, Palmer getting left there, 101. Ainsworth coming through strongly in 354. Smith's already up alongside Dan Clark. He's past Joe Jopling in 452. Going past Terry Davis as well now in 458. Stu Young now leads for 329 indeed in second place. It's still Rob Scriven. Richard Pratt's pulled up on the centre green here at Brafield as the race takes place. Andy Malters closing in on the second place man, Stu Young. Ainsworth's coming through strongly, I can tell you. You might see Ainsworth in view now. Yes, there he is, just coming off the turn. Howard Davis is up there as well in 327, going past Young now for third place. Rob Scriven, though, braking fairly clear. He's got 2/3 of the length of a straight lead over the second place car. Les Spencer getting edged out of the way there on that turn. Ainsworth now challenging Davis. And Davis going wide, and Ainsworth indeed through in 354. Davis drops back a place, Stu Young behind him, and then John Lander. Got a strong West Country presence here in the leading positions. What with Rob Scriven, Howard Davis, and John Lander all well up. Richard Ainsworth from the opposite end of the country, they're up in Cumbria. Leading red top in this one, closing in on Andy Malters. Ainsworth here in third place. So Malters in 314 is going to get the bumper. No, indeed, Ainsworth just slips through on the inside. Ainsworth so unlucky in the World Championship to have a puncture. Rule him out of this year's title chase. Jopling and Clark side by side. Smith is long gone. Stu Young dropping back in 329. There indeed is Smith. He's past Howard Davis now. Looks like we could get quite a battle between Smith and Ainsworth in the closing stages of Heat 1 here in this Grand Prix meeting, first of the series. And Malters hits the fence. He's lost his suspension completely there, it looked like. It did look as if he was worried there by Smith coming through on the inside. Malters going wide and overcooking it straight to the fence. Rob Scriven 117, Richard Ainsworth second in 354. And the Cumbrian driver closing in all the time, barrel across the track there. There's Scriven, Ainsworth in second, Stu Smith now third. Fourth place is John Lander, fifth Dan Clark in 203. As Ainsworth tries to nudge Scriven out of the way and take the lead, and indeed he does. Ainsworth is through. Stu Smith in third place, with Rob Scriven standing between him and the race leader. So Ainsworth away, Scriven second, Stuart Smith soon to become second. They're going into the turn, clashes with Scriven. Terry Davis has spun out on the turn, 458. Les Spencer having to go wide there. And there goes the race leader. Richard Ainsworth. Smith is clear now into second place. So can the world champion haul in that lead of Ainsworth? He's got to watch out for that barrel going into the turn. Looks like Rob Scriven just caught it. Behind Scriven, it is now, looks like Glenn Daft, 46, John Lander, 23, 203, Dan Clark, 327, Howard Davis, 452, Joe Jopling. That's about the running order at the present time. Other cars, of course, in the race. But it looks like a two-man drive now for a win in Heat 1 of the Formula Ones here today. So it's Smith against Ainsworth, with Ainsworth holding the upper hand at the present time. Mick Crocker going through there along with Pete Palmer. And there goes Ainsworth. Smith not making significant inroads into that lead. A lot of smoke coming up from the #1 car. Ainsworth, a superbly built machine there, going through on the inside as Palmer hits the fence. Palmer from Milton Keynes hits the stanchion there, supporting the safety fence. Just under 3 laps to go now. Ainsworth looking good for the win here, though. Smith just can't catch him. Ainsworth, one of the biggest names not to be in the world final. Ray Bird it is, in fact, in 46 has pulled up. I didn't call him Glenn Daft earlier. It is, of course, Ray Bird. Daft drives 96. Well, I don't think anyone's going to catch Richard Ainsworth now. Certainly not Stuart. Well, Stuart Smith's the most likely one, but I don't think anyone's going to catch him. Last lap marker coming out. Smith closing it all the time, though. And now, as we go into the closing stages, could it be too late for the world champion to haul in Richard Ainsworth? Looking now for the big use of the bumper on the final turn, but I don't think, no, he's not going to make that gap up. The checkered flag is raised now for the man coming across the line for the win. Number 354, Richard Ainsworth, wins Scene 1 here at Northampton. Second place, #1, Stuart Smith. Looks like third place is yet to come in. It looks now as if it could be Dan Clark at 203, John Lander fourth, and possibly Rob Scriven fifth. And indeed part of the car falling off Terry Davis's car there. It looks like part of the bumper disappearing onto the track. That's a win by Richard Ainsworth then in Heat 1. Stuart Smith second in #1. Looks like Dan Clark got third in 203. We'll confirm those results as soon as we get them officially from race control. Stuart Smith, though, couldn't catch the Flying Cumbrian Richard Ainsworth there. 354 coming in for a well-merited win. He's not going to win a World Championship this year, but he might well win the Grand Prix. That's all he's got to go for now. And Ainsworth looking good, going through to the final, the first final of the Grand Prix, with a convincing win there over the world champion Stuart Smith. Well, we have the official result now of Heat 1 for the Formula Ones in this Grand Prix meeting. First was 354 Richard Ainsworth, second Stu Smith, third indeed was Dan Clark, fourth John Lander, fifth Rob Scriven, sixth place Joe Jopling, seventh Howard Davis, the West Countryman getting fourth, fifth and seventh there. Eighth was 98 Les Spencer, ninth Mick Crocker 430, and 10th was Steve Ferris 225. The first 8, that's Ainsworth down to Spencer qualify for the final, but for Crocker, Ferris and the cars outside the top 10, it's a route through the Consolation if they're going to get to the final. The race is underway here, Heat 2 in the Formula Ones. Mark Harrington gets the jump into first place. Second place, Wayne Handley. Third place, it is number 9, Graham Askham. Fourth is John Wright. Fifth, Dave Tapping. Sixth, Fred Skinner just being overhauled by 91 Wilf Warnes. Paul Lowe pulling off already in 410. Blues coming through. Frankie Wainman's got the drop on the other Reds. Bert Finnegan's left at the back. Won the British Drivers' Championship here at Northampton earlier in the season. It's Carrington who leads, number 271, Carrington from Findon in Northants. Good shoemaking country. Second place, John Wright, certainly going well these days, back up to blue for the next grading period. John Wright 128, Dave Tapping just behind him 412, Graham Askham, Wilf Warnes, Wayne Handley. Then we have a blue top, it looks like Des Chandler. 213 is up there, Rob Cowley, 304 Dave Mellor, 8 Gary Castell, 485 Terry Jackson, 175 Rob Pearce puts the bumper in on Jackson. Now he goes into the fence. Wainman coming through the field, he's past Warnes, Chandler's behind him, Alan Long, or rather Keith Long's gone into the fence, number 277, novice driver, Keith from Whitney in Oxfordshire. Novice driver confirmed by the Black Cross. Bert Finnegan getting stuck in there in the middle of those blues. Rob Cowley and Rob Pearce behind him, another white top visiting the fence. Mellor going through, 304. Dave Mellor not having too many points these days, but not too many meetings either. Mellor indeed down amongst the blues, but retains red due to lack of meetings in the next grading period. So Mellor is showing strongly here in Heat 2. He's past Des Chandler now in 213. Mellor down into the turn. Wilf Warnes behind him, Gary Castell, Bert Finnegan all up there in 55. Still Carrington leading though in 271. This action happening a bit further down the field with Dave Mellor. Carrington is first, I can tell you, in 271. Going past Wayne Handley there, the challenge coming from Graham Askham and John Wright now. I think Askham could have lost a lap, he's lost his place now anyway, as John Wright comes through the yellow topped car. Carrington down into the turn. The grey skies beginning to unload their rain on this Brafield circuit now. Wainman showing well. It looks like he's in third place at the present time behind John Wright there in 2-1-2. Well, Frankie Wainman well on the way to another National Points Championship this year. After winning last year, he's a good 200 points ahead of Dave Beresford in this year's championship chase. Wainman closing in all the time on John Wright, but Mark Carrington's got the clear run out in front. Carrington, good way ahead, but Wainman's through now into second. John Wright back in third now in 1:28. Fourth place is Dave Tapping, 4-1-2. Dave Mellor fifth. Also up there's Bert Finnegan, Gary Castell, Rob Pearce. Nigel Wharton also showing strongly. 5 laps to go, Mark, going out now to Mark Carrington, 2.71, but Wainman's closing in all the time in 2-1-2. Only surely a matter of time before the National Points Champion catches the white top, and there it is, through on the inside. Frankie Wainman hits the front here in Heat 3, Heat 2 rather, of this Grand Prix meeting. Wainman originally programmed in Heat 3, but surfacing in Heat 2 instead. 3.5 laps now left in Heat 2. Frankie Wainman looking well on his way to a place in the final. Blew up his shale car recently, having to use the tarmac car on both tarmac and shale. Mellor now pressing Dave, or rather John Wright, in 1:28. Dave Mellor now through into third place. Nigel Wharton there, 36 indeed. It's Rod Falding there coming off the turn. Frankie Wainman, the leader, though, about to lap Falding. Second place still is Mark Carrington. Third place, Dave Mellor. Fourth, John Wright. Fifth, Dave Tapping. And sixth now is Bert Finnegan. Into the final lap now. I don't think anyone's going to catch Wainman now. He's well clear here in Heat 2. Carrington still in second. The white top holding on for a place in the final here. Mellor about to take second from him. But it's going to be a win for Frankie Wainman. Wainman comes off the turn to greet the checkered flag. 2-1-2, Wainman wins. Second place goes to Dave Mellor in 3:04. Third place, Mark Carrington, a fine drive from the white top driver in 2:71. Looks like after him came Dave Tapping, 4-1-2, and then in fifth place, Bert Finnegan, number 55, with sixth place going to Nigel Wharton in 4:22. So we obviously wait confirmation from race control on that result, but it's a win for Frankie Wainman in Heat 2. Goes through to the final. So we've had Ainsworth winning Heat 1, Wainman winning Heat 2s. The very best talent in Formula 1's winning through here in the opening couple of heats here today at Northampton. A win for Frankie Wainman in Heat 2, virtually unopposed. Result now of Event 2, Heat 2, the Formula 1 second heat. First place, 2-1-2, Frankie Wainman. Second place went to 3:04, Dave Mellor. Third was Mark Carrington. Fourth, Dave Tapping. Fifth, Bert Finnegan. Sixth indeed was John Wright, 1:28. Seventh was Nigel Wharton. Eighth place, Rob Pearce. And just missing out, number 8, Gary Castell. And 2-1-3, Des Chandler. So that's all the way through from Wainman to Pearce qualify for the final. Those top 8 going through to join the 8 we already have there. And back into a Formula 1 after that race in the hot rod earlier on. Bobby Burns, number 471, putting the 1 back on the end of his number and getting into a Formula 1 at that. Well, Bobby out of racing earlier this season with car problems with that machine. Had to borrow cars for a while, but back with the 471 motor now in its normal shape and colours. So away go the field, 370. Jeff Keeling leads them off, another March Bodies driver. Second place we have number 161, that's Kev Lowe from Blaby in Leicestershire. Third place, 137, Dave Harris. 306, Mick Noden going through there. Brian Tupton not far behind. Burns already closing in on the Reds. 33, Peter Falding behind him. And it's Keeling who's away in 370. Got a good lead over the second place man. Burns certainly getting well stuck in. I'm sure he's relishing the contact after being in the hot rods earlier on. Phil Wheelton's got caught up by the pit gate. '97 Murray Harrison coming back in off the centre green. And away down the home straight goes the leader, 370, Jeff Keeling. Second place now is number 10, Richard Dobson. Third place is 266, Jeff Stagg. Fourth place now, Mo Smith, 51. And Kev Lowe's pulled off onto the infield in 161. there goes the yellow top. Looked like it could have been Phil Wheelton after that clash up by the pit gate. And indeed it is. Wheelton, first of the March Bodies cars this year to go up to yellow. 145, Frank North also pulled out of the race. Jeff Stagg coming through strongly in 266. Bo Smith also up there, number 51. Behind him, 33, Peter Falding. Well, Falding's managed to drop the other superstars. Mike Shirley behind him. Then Mick Noden, 471, Bobby Burns. 155, Brian Tuplin also coming up through the field. But a fair way to go for the Lincoln Imp. Dobson then in second place, number 10. Indeed now leads, I think, with the white top having dropped back. Yes, Richard Dobson leads. Jeff Stagg is second, and there is the former leader, Jeff Keeling, back in third place now, in number 370. Yellow top getting back into the race then, Murray Harrison, number 97. Mike Shirley up to red top for the next grading period. There is another shot of Murray Harrison. Mike Shirley there with Mick Noden just behind him in 306. Signals going out there to Dobson. Dobson in the number 10 car. Looks like he's got a badge of a bat on the wing as well. Dobson confirming his number there with a large painted TEN on his wing between the two actual sections of it, two actual wings on the side. Jeff Stagg there having quite a race for Peter Falding, 33. Dobson first, then second place now is Falding, the younger superstar, through into second. So nearly missed out on the world final place when he was marked out at 14th at the Bellevue semi, but then was upgraded to 9th on a protest. Jeff Stagg now third in 266. A lot of smoke coming off the Jeff Stagg car now though. Now can Falding mount the challenge on the race leader, Dobson? Dobson, one of the middle range yellow top drivers, indeed in 64th place in the next grading list. Dropped one place from the previous month, those gradings that they're currently operating on. Dobson then coming up to lap some of the back markers. With the car in his sights there. Still slate grey skies over this Northampton circuit. 3 laps to go, at least it's stopped raining now. Dobson first, second Falding, looking for third, that's Jeff Stagg still in 266. 4th place Mo Smith, 5th Mick Noden, 6th place is Murray Harrison, 7th Mike Shirley, 8th is 471 Bobby Burns. So it looks like Burns is just about going to clinch a place in the final, but he's got a battle going on with Brian Tuplin for that 8th place. Indeed, there they are, going past the back marker 137. Lincoln Imp, Brian Tuplin trying to get in on them, Burns to get him out of the way. Murray Harrison spins up right in front of them and clouted there by 137, Dave Harris. Well, Murray Harrison having all kinds of problems in this race on the final lap now. And the flag being ready, the checkered flag goes out for the race winner, and it is indeed right at the end, number 10, Richard Dobson, who holds on. So it's Dobson first in number 10. Second place went to number 33, Peter Falding. Well, Falding couldn't close in. He ran out of laps there to close in on the leader. Chris Paxford getting a battering there after the race. And Murray Harrison yet again in view. And there is Chris Paxford up onto the infield. So Paxford taking quite a clout after the race. You can see the wheels on the inside of the car having a definite problems. The inside, that is, track racing terms. Richard Dobson wins though in car number 10. Falding couldn't catch him. And Peter Falding going well there in second place. Couldn't quite get up though on the race winner. Number 10, the yellow top, Richard Dobson, finally a breakaway from the reds and silvers that won the first couple of races. This time it's Dobson who goes through to the final with a win in Heat 3. Well, Richard, many congratulations on the win. How did the race look to you?
I had a good race. Probably I could have gone a little bit faster. The red oil warning light was on all the time.
So you're having problems with the car all the time. I understand you had problems before the race also with it.
Yeah, well, only minor problems. Setting the timing and one thing and another.
Now, how often do you race? Because we don't see you too often in front of our cameras.
No.
What are your regular tracks?
Well, being a farmer, I can only race as the weather permits. So therefore, my regular tracks are northern tracks. I think up till now, this season, I've only done 9 meetings.
9 meetings, yet you're still well up in the yellows, aren't you?
Oh yes, we try and be competitive.
Yes. Now, how do you find conditions today? Because there's been a bit of rain, but the track's dried out a fair bit, hasn't it?
Yeah, ideal conditions. We're a bit apprehensive with the dark clouds we've got overhead, but it should hold off, and we're in for some good racing.
How do you feel about the final?
If we can get the oil light problem sorted out, yeah, I should do fairly well. Luck being with me.
Was that your first win of the season?
Yes, it is, yeah.
So be looking for some more success maybe later on. Mind you, there's going to be some talent out there, isn't there?
Certainly is, yeah.
Best of luck for the final.
Thank you very much.
Result of Heat 3 in the Formula Ones. First place, number 10, Richard Dobson. Second place was 33, Peter Falding. Third was Jeff Stagg. Fourth, Mick Noden. Fifth, Mo Smith. Sixth, Mike Shirley. Seventh was Bobby Burns. Eighth, Brian Tuplin. Ninth, and non-qualified David Squire. 10th was 370, Jeff Keeling. White to show that green flag. And indeed he does. The race is underway. Consolation race coming off now here at Northampton, with the race for the lead going into the first turn between Askham and Handley, and it's Askham who wins out. Stu Young right behind him, 329. Let's look at the yellows now coming down. There's Terry Jackson in the middle of it. Steve Ferris getting involved there as Stuart Smith 139 comes through into them. Dave Squire hits the fence. Murray Harrison's having a rough ride down the back straight. Stu Young onto the infield as well. These consolations can get very, very hairy as these drivers pursue their last chance of a place in the final. Des Chandler having problems there. Very tempting target now for cars coming off the turn. Cars having to thread a narrow run on the outside of the 213 car. I don't think Chandler can get it out of the way. Murray Harrison in more trouble there with Wilf Warnes, 91. Barrel across the track in the middle there. An added hazard. Someone surely is going to pick that up. More problems there. White tops getting jostled with this amount of white tops here. With all these white tops here, it does always spell recipe for trouble. Barrel spinning across the track and out of the way. A bit more off the racing line now. So looking for the leader now, it's Wilf Warnes, 91. Murray Harrison in front of him, a lap down, or he will be as soon as Warnes catches up with him. Des Chandler's car still there. Pete White putting on a jacket as the rain starts pouring down here at Northampton. 91, Wilf Warnes first. And Warnes will fortunately protected this. 269 goes over. Well, a roll over there. 269 helped on his way by Murray Harrison, and there's a fire underneath that car, under the 370 Jeff Keeling car, and I feel somehow this race is going to be stopped. Yes, the red flags go out. The rain is pouring down now here at Northampton. That's going to affect drivers' handling if they can't get the tyres changed, but 269 is the car that they're concerned about. Let's hope the driver's okay. And 269, John Rogers from Findon in Northants being removed from the cab of his car now. Well, the race looks like it's going to be restarted completely from scratch. Indeed it is. The cars all lining up in great order. The rain has halted mercifully, and a bit of sunshine spreading over the Brafield circuit. But there still are some very heavy clouds over Northampton, and there you can see it brightening up, but still the ever-present threat. Yes, had their fair share of rain here at Northampton this year. The British Drivers' Championship Day was almost wrecked by rain, but in the end, Bert Finnegan, when the track dried out, had the right set of tyres and beat Stuart Smith on that occasion. So Bert Finnegan will be welcoming a bit of rain, maybe drying up later. In the meantime, though, before we come to that Grand Prix race, we do have this consolation race that ended in scenes of mayhem at the first attempt. I can tell you, cars that aren't going in the restart, well, indeed, no. The green flag drops will come to those in a short while. The race is underway then in the consolation. 329, Stu Young leads them off. You might just see a Screen Sport sticker on the side of that car as it goes round. Difficult to see in race conditions. Well, our thanks to Stu for a little bit of publicity for ourselves. Des Chandler going wide, 213 there, letting a couple of cars through. White top driver having problems there. 59, Dave Field, I think you'll find. 49 rather. 329, Stu Young leads. It's the Screen Sports ticket that's doing the job there. 162, Richard Pratt in second. Third Third place, Chris Paxford. Fourth place is Phil Wheelton, 4:11. Well, Young going wide there, getting a battering going down the home straight from his fellow Whitetop, and Pratt's through in 1:62. Paxford challenging strongly in third place. Fourth place, Phil Wheelton. Fifth now is Steve Ferris. No, it's Fred Skinner, 2:28. Always get those two mixed up. Behind 2:28, 4:85, Terry Jackson. Then comes 1:39, Stu Smith. And 2:13 does Chandler. Pratt hitting the fence, having his problems as 2:28 Skinner comes through. So it's Stu Young back in first place. Second place, Chris Paxford. Third place, Phil Wheelton. Then we have Skinner. Then we have Pratt, Jackson, Smith, Chandler, Cowley, Castell, Warnes, I think it is, Falding, Rod Falding. Coming up into a qualification place in the red top. Terry Jackson spinning out there with Stu Smith, 1:39. And indeed, a couple of cases of Smiths there, because of course it was the other Stu Smith's car that Terry Jackson's driving there, his old machine. Gary Castell there with the huge number plate on the roof. Good advertising billboard as it's being used now. So Stu Young leads them off, 3:29. Second place looks like Fred Skinner, 2:28, just slipping through, but he's caught the back marker in his way, and that is long. That's novice driver, 2:77. Skinner there, Paxford right in his tail, and Phil Wheelton, Rod Falding going past the scattered barrels. Murray Harrison there. He certainly took part in all the fun of the first attempt. And the car's having to avoid those barrels now. Stu Young coming down onto that turn, or indeed it's the entrance to the turn. That's a difficult place, and it looks like Wheelton hit one. He's pushing it out of the way though without any damage. But it's the car, not the barrel. Stu Young first then, Steve, or rather Fred Skinner in second, 2:25 and 2:28 do cause their problems. It's Fred Skinner second in 2:28. Well, Stu Young, 3:29, the leader is based at Tamworth in Staffordshire. As Rob Cowley won that Grand National at Bellevue on World semi-final night. Stu Young, 3:29, drifting, and he's lost it now to 2:28. So it's 2:28 Fred Skinner from Stoke Priory in Worcestershire, who leads here in the consolation race for the Formula Ones at Northampton. Looks like the halfway flank might have gone out. No, pink white. Just signalling to 2:28 Fred Skinner, he leads. Second place Stu Young, third place Chris Paxford. Fourth we have Rob Cowley, then we have Richard Pratt, Rod Falding, 36. Then we have Phil Wheelton. Then 269, the car that overturned earlier. That was the car of John Rogers. So Rogers able to take part in the rerun after the spin out. Let's take a look at the cars coming through. There's Rod Falding, 36, the only red top, past Richard Pratt in 162. And Falding looking for a place in the final where his son already is established. That's Peter, 33. Rod coming up now on Paxford. He's got Cowley in his sights. You can't rule Cowley out. He's in second place. Stu Young still in front in 3:29. That Screen Sports sticker's bringing him a bit of luck. Indeed, it is 2:28 who's in the front. It's 3:29 who's second. Yes, with Skinner having pulled a fair way off. It looks for a moment as if Young was back in front, but of course it is Skinner. Skinner a good way off, but Stu Young's going to make the final. Rob Cowley third, Rod Falding is fourth, fifth place Chris Paxford, sixth is Richard Pratt, seventh now is John Rogers, battling it out with Phil Wheelton, and 2:28 Skinner, or rather 2:28. Yes, it is indeed Skinner having his problems there. A flat tyre puts Stu Young back in first place. And Skinner with a couple of flat tyres there, so 2:28's not going to be able to finish. He'll be very lucky if he can get across the line in a qualification position now. You see all the cars parked up on the inside. More problems there. Skinner parked up behind the Terry Jackson car. The wheel completely off the rim there. Well, the tyre completely off the rim at least. Into the final lap now. Phil Wheelton spun out on the home straight, so he's lost his place in the final. Coming through for the checkered flag. And it goes out to Rod Falding there. Stu Young spun out right in the final turn. Well, Falding came up from sixth place, roughly to first place right at the end, just edging out Stu Young. Well, Young had the lead, what, 3 times in that race, but Rod Falding catching him right in the final turn. Stu Young recovering to take a place in the final. Murray Harrison parked up on the turn. He certainly had a good race there. didn't necessarily get in the placings, but plenty of action there. Indeed, since he took on Stuart Smith at Coventry a while ago, Murray seems to have been going for the full action stuff in racing rather than some cars who just sit back and let them all go by. Well, confirmation is that Rod Falding won. Rob Cowley was second in number 73. I think Stu Young, though, in the 329 car, will have got a place in the final. Yes, Stuart, it's amazing the coverage you can get if you've got a Screen Sport sticker on the car. Well, that gentleman in view there is the starter here at Northampton, Pete White. Pete, you're certainly a stickler on the rolling laps, aren't you?
Oh, yes. You know, you've got to be fair with all the drivers. You know, when you put them in a graded order and you get one or two what creep forward, it's they can soon have a big pile up. You know, that's the reason I had to keep an eye on them, you know, and keep them in a certain space to get, you know, the first lap over.
So once they move up and they start edging forward, getting over enthusiastic, that's when you put the red out?
That's right, you know, especially, you know, most of the drivers keep an eye on me, but one or two of them, they've got too eager and they start sticking their foot down.
Now, when the race is in progress, what communication do you have up to the race control? Because you're obviously calling positions all the way through.
Well, they only tell me what the spectator hears, you know, on the placings and everything else. That's only the headphones are for.
So you're picking up the commentary then?
That's right, yes.
The main track
That's
commentary.
it, yes.
How long have you been doing starting now?
Well, I think I've been married 13 years, 12 years.
And you cover all the various formula here at Northampton then?
Well, I do nearly every one of Northampton tracks.
Yes, which is your own particular favourite form of racing? Because you get everything here at Northampton, don't you?
Oh, yes. Well, I like them all, really, but Formula 1's are the best.
Have you ever worked anywhere else, or is it just Northampton for you?
Well, I used to do Leicester, Coventry, Wisbech, Boston, but now just Northampton only.
Yes, well, what do you think about the race we've got coming up now? Because the hot rods are looking pretty good today. They're coming up next. That Phil White, he's no relation, is he?
Pardon?
That Phil White that races, he's no relation, is he, the hot rod driver?
What, you mean that number 47?
No, the 64 in the hot rods, Phil White. He's no relation, is he?
No,
none at all.
No.
Of course, it's a completely different thing than when you're with the hot rods, when you're signalling on the hot rods, because you have that blue flag as well up there, don't you?
Oh yes, the blue flag is for the driver, you know, faster driver coming up on a slow driver, and as soon as the driver sees the blue flag, he can know that the driver behind can pass either side on him, you know, without the driver moving.
That adds quite a bit of work, doesn't it?
Oh yes, you've got to have eyes in the back of your head with the hot rods, you know, watching for little taps here and there. They're a bit crafty.
Well, thanks very much, Pete. Yes, you've got to watch out for the contact. Thanks very much, Pete.
All right.
We look forward to this next race coming up. Thank you.
All right, cheers.
Let's take a look now at the official result of the consolation race. We have now the 32-car final confirmed. The lineup confirmed, because we have first in this one Rod Falding, 36. Second was Rob Cowley, 73. Third was Chris Paxford, 459. Fourth, Richard Pratt, 162. Then we had Gary Castell, number 8. 269, John Rogers. Getting home in 7th place, Stu Young. And 8th place, Wolf Warnes, 91. Just missing out in a place in the final, 430, Mick Crocker. And number 9, Graham Askham. Well, Pete White's back on the roster. Speed as the race gets underway. It's Stu Young who leads them off in 329. Rob Scriven second in 117. Third place, Mark Carrington, 271. Problems already, though. John Lander out into the fence. Along with him, Joe Jopling, number 452. Well, it is Young who leads, 329. Rob Scriven going wide there, giving Mark Carrington the chance to come through into second place. Richard Pratt also up there with them. Then we have the leading yellow top. That looks like Wilf Warnes, 91, followed by John Wright, 128. John Rogers, 269, 412. Dave Tapping. But look at the rest of the yellows. And it's not just yellows. Dan Clark suspended in midair there as the barrel comes to a rest. 354 Ainsworth in there as well. 304 Mellor, 10 Richard Dobson, Mark Carrington having a fight with a barrel as all the cars go across the grass. It's completely blocked off there on the turn. Ainsworth reversing out of it. Dan Clark's managing to get away from it. The car seems pretty well twisted. Managed to get off the top of them. And I think the sufferer there was Jeff Stagg, with Dan Clark climbing all over him. Richard Dobson mounted high in the fence. Mick Nurden able to drive away from it. Les Spencer caught in the middle. I think there is another car in there somewhere. I'm not too sure, but I think we do only have the 3 cars left out of that pile-up. I think there is another car. It is indeed. Chris Paxford, 459, is in there somewhere, I can tell you. It's the 459 car is hidden by the Dobson machine at the present time. And indeed, there it is from the other angle. I thought there was another one in there, and it is Chris Paxford, whose car has taken a fair bit of damage. Well, absolute mayhem there going into that turn. Looks like we might have a complete restart after that. Well, the green flag is down and the race is away. 20-lap race here. Carrington's got the jump. Second place, Stu Young. Third place, Rob Scriven. Fourth, it looks like Richard Pratt. Looking for the yellows, Howard Davis. Leading blue, Mo Smith. Rob Cowley up there as well. Mike Shirley hot in his tail. Carrington then leading from Young. Young on the inside line, edging Carrington out of the way as the 271 car got the speed now, coming down home straight into the turn. Young's got the narrower line, but Carrington's trying to switch back on the inside. Looking now at the yellows and the blues. Shirley there. Burns coming through now in the reds. One blue being dropped there, 98 Les Spencer. Stu Smith towards the back there. Brian Tuplin has been left. Stu Young having his problems, coming under pressure from Wilf Warnes. Problems there, we have Howard Davis spinning out, also going Mo Smith. Dave Miller hitting problems, and they're hitting the trouble again. Stu Smith's onto the infield, getting well out of the way, just straight across the grass. Get out of the way of the drivers, of course. You're allowed to cut the corners if there is no safe line on the track. You think about it, if there is no safe line, you go across that grass, you passed about 6 cars, and you do have a very valid excuse. So it's Mark Carrington who leads, from Richard Pratt in second place, John Wright up there in third in 128. Fourth place car is 175, Rob Pearce, then comes John Rogers. Then we have Stu Young, Rob Cowley, Richard Ainsworth leading red top. Then Bobby Burns, 471, Les Spencer, or rather Mike Shirley being overtaken by Frankie Wainman, but Finnegan behind him. So there it is, John Wright coming up now. Rob Pearce and Richard Pratt spinning out there when Pearce is through. 91 car and Wilf Warnes parked up in the middle of the track. Wilf recently retired but back in action now. So Pearce chasing, and the waved yellows are out with the problems there for the cars. I think Wilf Warnes will be one of the main men they're considering, making sure that Wilf's okay. I think he's out. Well, there is the Warnes car. It does look like Wilf's moving. That's an encouraging sign. So a fair bit of damage there to those 2 cars. No, indeed, they've just got the wheels locked. Stu Young and another car. I think Wilf Warnes' car has been moved. Yes, it has, so they'll be able to restart the race. Now on the waved yellows, drivers must assume single file, no overtaking allowed while the yellows are being waved. And it's confirmed that the race leader is 128, John Wright. That information being passed on to the drivers. They're being whipped up now, and the green flag comes out. Pete White switching over to the green. I don't know if he can get it out. Yes, he's waiting for the leader, of course, John Wright. And I think Wright's not too far off. Yes, there he is going down in front. No, they're still on the waved yellows. Another lap of rolling lap. No overtaking allowed. If every car you overtake, you mark down 2 places. And indeed, the positions, I think, were incorrect at the time that they were going to show the flag. So John Wright in the correct position now, and away goes the race. Third attempt effectively at the grand final here today at Northampton. John Wright leads them off. Rob Pearson second in 175. 117, Rob Scriven has dropped out there. Wainman and Burns having a battle. Ainsworth through into third place. Now John Wright clouding the fence, and Ainsworth through into first place. Second place now Rob Pearce leads. Rob Cowley's third. John Wright fourth. Ainsworth then looking now to overhaul Pearce. That's first and second. Now Ainsworth with a win in the opening race of the day, looking for a heat and final double. Rob Cowley confirmed in third place in 73. Stu Smith there behind Bert Finnegan, but he's got Wharton in front of him, and behind him rather, and Dave Miller. Stu Young pulling up there. World champion with a second behind Ainsworth in Heat 1, looking to go one better here in the final and get these vital Grand Prix points. Ainsworth, this man though with a bit between his teeth. This is his last chance of glory this year at the Grand Prix Series. He's into the first position with Pearce in second place. Wainman's not too far behind Rob Cowley in fourth. John Wright is fifth in 128. Sixth place now is Bert Finnegan. Seventh now is Stu Smith. Eighth, Nigel Wharton. Ainsworth building up a substantial lead. I don't think he's going to get caught here, even though it is a fairly long race. And indeed, Rob Pearce has pulled out of the race. I can tell you other cars have pulled out of Dave Tapping, Howard Davis and Mo Smith, and there is Rob Pearce, parked up by the fence. Previously to Mark Carrington going past. Brian Sutton in view there, 155, about to be lapped though in the next couple of laps, surely by Richard Ainsworth in 354. Ainsworth from Ulverston in Cumbria. As mentioned earlier, had that puncture in the World Championship semi that put him out of racing or put him out of the World Final, that is, now looks for the Grand Prix as his sole chance of success. Mick Nolan's pulled off the course as well in 3:06. Indeed there is Mick with the ever-present puncture that so many drivers have problems with. Obviously in contact racing with open wheel formula, it's difficult to keep the air in the tyres. But Finnegan coming through the field strongly now, car number 55. He's through into third place now. He's got Stuart Smith on his tail in fourth. Rob Pearson's car is still moving. I think he might be trying to get back in. No, indeed, he's parking up on the centre green. So there goes Wainman through. There's Finnegan behind him. And behind Finnegan it's Smith. Behind Smith it's Wharton. And indeed there is Wharton trying to, I think, put the bumper in on Smith. There's Bobby Burns dropping down the field a little. Dave Mellor coming up at him now in 3:04. It's been a busy day for Bobby Burns, what with hot rod racing as well as Formula One. Ainsworth now coming up to lap Joe Jopling, 4:52. Jopling taking a wide line. 5 laps to go now in this grand final, the first Grand Prix qualifying round of the year, sponsored by the Mirror. Ainsworth first. Second place is Wainman in 2:12. Third place now is not Tuplin, he's a lap down. Third place now is Bert Finnegan. Fourth is Stuart Smith. Fifth, Nigel Wharton. Sixth is Burns. Seventh is Mellor, but that's quite a battle going on for that one. Behind them, it looks like Peter Falding in 33. Rod Falding about to be overtaken now by 354, Richard Ainsworth, the race leader here. Had a third place in last year's World Long Track final at Barlow. Ainsworth through now, putting plenty of back markers between him and the second place man. He's now got Falding behind him, Les Spencer, Mike Shirley, John Wright, all as buffers between him and 2:12 Frankie Wainman. 4:52, Joe Jopling parked up on the infield now after being lapped. Ainsworth going down into the turn. It's a long way down to Frankie Wainman now in second place. There is the national points champion. Behind him, a good way back, it's Bert Finnegan. And then about 100 yards almost behind the leader, it's Stuart Smith in fourth place. Going to the final lap now, it looks like it's going to be a win for Richard Ainsworth. Frankie Wainman, though, holding down a useful second place, but Ainsworth now half a lap away from victory. He won Heat 1, and he's looking for a win in the final. It's going to be Richard Ainsworth who picks up the major points in the Grand Prix. The first qualifying round goes to Richard Ainsworth. So Ainsworth, as I say, will be out to get this competition as compensation for the World Championship disappointments. Starts off in superb style with a win in the first qualifying round. Second place goes to Frankie Wainman in number 2:12. Third place to Bert Finnegan. Fourth place looks like it goes to Stuart Smith, number 1. And fifth place to Nigel Wharton, 4:22. Well, that brings to a close our coverage of this Grand Prix meeting here at Northampton with that win for Richard Ainsworth. We look forward to seeing you again next week for more Brisca stock car action. Not necessarily with the hot rods in this time, but I'm sure you enjoyed a bit of a change, bit of variety, seeing the hot rods in proper action here at Northampton this week. Look forward to seeing you again next week. Until then, goodbye from Brafield Stadium, Northampton.